Hello there. Thank you for listening to this presentation today. You're listening to Luke Chapman. I work at the University of Bolton as an outreach officer as part of Greater Manchester Hire, or GM Hire for short. This short presentation will talk to you about why you, as a parent or a supporter, may want to consider higher education and its benefits for the young people in your lives. Within this presentation, we will cover what higher education is, how to understand your options, why GCSEs matter, why consider higher education in the first place, understanding student finance, followed by a brief summary. So, what is higher education? Higher education, by any definition, is university, or the study of university level studies. It's the most popular and traditional route into higher education, and a majority of studies are for 3 years full-time for an undergraduate degree, and you will need a degree for some professions. If you were to guess any that you might need them for, it could be the likes of teaching, law, medicine, just to name a few. So, although university is the traditional route, there are now a few different ways in which your child can get into higher education. So there are colleges that offer HE or degree level courses. They are an alternative to university, and they may suit those wanting to stay closer to home or study in a smaller environment. The qualifications offered include foundation degrees, HNCs, HNDs, and undergraduate degrees. HNC and HND short for Higher National Certificate and Higher National Diploma, respectively. There are also now degree apprenticeships, which are a vocational alternative which combines work and study. There are pathways on these that are specific to careers. They often take more than 3 years to complete. They are competitive and offered in limited subject areas. So a key point about degree apprenticeships, or apprenticeships in general, is that they are jobs. So if your young person wants to pursue this option, they would need to apply directly to an employer that offered a degree apprenticeship and get their placement that way. They would not apply the traditional way through UCAS like those going to university would. So, understanding your options. So what do we need to consider with applications into higher education, or HE for short? So entry requirements, so how many UCAS points do they need? And an important note is you do need UCAS points for both the traditional route, but also for those degree apprenticeships as well. We need to consider routes into professions. Does your child need to go into higher education to get there? Is it a requirement? Need to consider completing level 3 qualifications, so those could be A levels, T levels, or BTECs, or level 3 apprenticeships. Where and what to study, and living away versus commuting. I know at the moment during these times we are obviously we do have more restrictions in terms of our travel at present, but there are lots and lots of universities, if not all, that are giving you a very in-depth look at themselves online. So if your young person is considering university in the next couple of years, they can still have a good look at them without travelling from the comfort of your living room. But obviously, if they're a few years away from this, we'd like to think that they will be able to physically travel and have a look around as well. So, A-levels, they are the most common route to university. They're mostly exam-based. You'll study usually 3 to 4 different subjects, which allows you to keep your options open. They can be combined with BTECs, and they may need certain A-levels for a higher education course. So, depending on what your young person wants to do long term, they may need to study specific subjects. T-levels. Now, these are brand new, and they came into kind of circulation within the last year or so. So they're a technical qualification developed with employers. They are a mix of on-the-job and classroom learning. They include a 45-day work placement, and their options from 2021 are in construction, digital services, health, and science, etc. BTECs. So they're specialist work-related qualifications. They're a mix of exams, coursework, and practical assessments. There are more vocational qualifications, so quite hands-on, and they are flexible with mandatory and optional units. It is important to note that most universities will still accept BTECs as well as A-levels. I think the figure was around 95% of universities will accept them. So I wouldn't be dissuaded from studying either an A-level or a BTEC. If the option for your young person is there, it should be down to personal choice and not any concerns about what universities might think. They are universally accepted almost to this date. Or an apprenticeship. So you can combine a real job with training. You'll earn as you learn. They're ideal for learners who have a clear career path in mind. You must pass assessments, and you would normally apply to a specific apprenticeship and do it in one area or subject. Another point with apprenticeships is you will also need your GCSE results for them as well. So it's important to bear that in mind when considering that option as well. So, the importance of GCSEs. Now, I know everybody says this over and over again, but it is for very good reason. So, your GCSEs can affect your young person's future in the following ways. They can affect the sixth form or college that you go to. They can influence the qualifications you take next. They can be used to assess your eligibility for a HE or degree level course. They can affect the institutions you can apply to and your career prospects. Now, although your degree, or if you were to study at university level or equivalent, although it's your A-levels or your BTEC or your T-levels that are going to feed into that, they are going to look for those 5 GCSE passes minimum with those passes in mathematics and English language. But the more the GCSEs you can pick up, the better off you're going to be. And I know your teachers at school will be telling your young people and yourself that as well. So, why consider higher education? So, higher education for the love of learning or a route to higher earnings should be a combination of the two, if I'm being completely honest. So, it can also benefit young people in many different ways as well. In terms of personal development, so you can learn to be independent and self-sustaining, and when I know from my own personal experience going to university, I feel like I grew and my confidence kind of went through the roof. New experiences and networks, so be that a new experience of a new place, be that an experience of new friends, or just there's lots of different things that university can provide. As I've said already, you can gain independence. There's access to professional facilities, so each individual university will have its own facilities to offer. They might be fully functioning TV studios, they might be fully functioning gyms, athletics provisions, teaching provisions. It's just about going to the university's websites and seeing what they have to offer, really. And higher education has the power to be transformative, absolutely so. So as we've already said, it is a route to higher earnings. There may be work placements available. It can offer an advantage in a fast-changing job market, especially with the job market as it is at the moment during these COVID times. And a HE qualification is required for some careers. Now, some companies, they're not going to be too bothered about what degree you have, but as long as you have a degree, because having a degree, it tells employers that you have a certain level of self-discipline. You're able to, write essays to a certain degree. You're able to work as part of a team. You have transferable skills that you may have picked up. So that's why they want the degree. And again, they're not too fussed as to what it is. In regards to higher earnings, I'd be lying if I sat here and I said to you, 100% you'll make more money if you go to university. But on average, it is proven that you are more likely to do so, and it will increase your chances. Obviously, there are lots of different circumstances that tie into that, but I can quite clearly make the recommendation and leave that decision with yourselves. So, a brief look at student finance today. So, UK students do not pay their fees up front. They can apply for and are eligible for a student loan. Now, the loan will cover tuition fees and living costs. And if your young person wants to go and study in London, there is a London waiting where they may get slightly more. towards their living costs to help them with the increased cost you find in that region. Now, you don't repay anything until you earn over £26,575 a year. Now, the important thing to note about this figure is you will only pay a small percentage of what you've borrowed over that amount. If you earned a penny less than this, you would not pay a single thing back at all. So by the end of a 30-year period, that loan is wiped, and whether you've paid back £10, £10,000, whatever it is, the remaining amount is wiped and forgiven. So if you've been earning under that threshold for the duration of those 30 years, then you won't have paid anything back and it'll still be wiped. If you end up out of work for whatever reason, or you don't find a job immediately after graduating, you will not pay anything back. A student finance will also not affect your young person's credit rating or anything like that. It will not impede them in any other aspects of their life. And within GM Hire, we prefer to see this as a graduate tax. They're only going to be paying it back if they're in a good and healthy position. So please don't feel that, they're signing themselves up for a massive ball and chain. It really doesn't work like that. Yes, they're likely to make a contribution, but only when they're in a financial position to do so. So as an example, if you earn £27,000 a year, you will only pay back about £3.20 a month. So if you use that kind of logic and apply it, they're only going to be paying large amounts if they're earning large amounts. So 75% of students will never have to repay everything that they've borrowed. And I suppose there's a stigma of sorts about not paying it back, but when the figure is this high, it really isn't anything to be concerned about, especially with no negative effects on credit rating. So student finance, there may be non-repayable support from universities and colleges, which include bursaries and scholarships. They are based on either the individual's personal circumstances, like how much they earn within their household, or their academic progress as well. And there may be additional support based on circumstances, for example, disability, learning condition, or if they're care experienced students as well. And don't forget, you don't get any student finance support for degree or higher apprenticeships, but there are no tuition fees for degree apprenticeships. The employer that hires you to do it will pay it for you. And they're a very attractive option for that reason, but they are also very, very intensive. So it's definitely worth doing your research and bearing that in mind. So takeaway points today. So start making links between GCSEs through to level 3, that's college level qualifications, all the way through to degree level. HE qualifications have many career and social benefits, regardless of your subject choice. Student finance can make studying HE affordable for anybody, regardless of background, and HE is an option for everyone. So start conversations about it now between yourselves, and naturally you can speak to us within GM Hire as well. If you're looking for more information, you can talk to our graduates on our Ask Us platform. You can read our Parents and Carers Guide, additional resources, and sign up to our Parent Carer newsletter at gmhire.ac.uk/parents and carers. And as we've just kind of touched on, and the reason I've given this its own slide, it's our Ask Us section. Now, you won't be able to ask me questions today. However, if you scan this QR code you see on your screen with your mobile phone, or you go to this web link, gmhire.ac.uk/askus, we have a facility where you can speak to either myself or any of my colleagues within our organisation. And you can ask us anything about our university lives or any questions we can help with in general. And this is a moderated service as well. So either yourselves can have a chat with us or your young people can, with the safety and the peace of mind knowing that, it is monitored by multiple staff members. So there'll be no issues in terms of safeguarding or anything like that. Well, I'd just like to finish by thanking you very much for your time and for listening today.